Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, everybody. Um, Habs win today. It looked a little close at the end, but the Habs win. We are now 6 points up on the Rangers, so that's good. I am here today with my guest, Brennan, from the Habscast, uh, sh- expert shit poster. And yeah, so hi. Also my goalie guy. This is my the only person I really will go to for goalie advice, and then depending on how I feel about the analysis he's given, I'll either believe it or I won't, depending on if I want to. So hi, Ren, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I don't know how I feel about being the only goalie guy you go to. I kind of think of goaltending like a high school course that I took that I was good at back then. That I kind of don't know like as much now because it's like
Yeah.
how much do I retain from that? But yeah, all of my goalie schooling was from back then. But yeah, I'm doing. I'm tired, but I'll get through it.
hmm
I think just like the Habs did tonight.
Oh yeah.
I think we're gonna battle through it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
doing good.
Yeah, I was telling Ren, I was like, I think we're both the Habs are on a back-to-back, we are on a back-to-back. It was Brendan's birthday very recently, so happy belated birthday.
Thank
Um
you.
yeah, sorry, we're both April babies. Anyways, this is not what we this is not what I planned to talk about. Uh, hi everybody. I'm seeing everybody in the chat are some of our regulars, mostly our regulars, and I'm really happy to have you guys. Today will probably not be that long of a show of famous last words, but Brendan does actually have something to do, so I have to let him go eventually. Um, so yeah, we're here. I started my call with Brendan being like, "Oh, like this is a game. Like a game certainly happened." And that's how it felt. Near the end, Caden Gooley put himself in the net like he was a goalie, and that was fun. The end was a little exciting, but hey, they did it. Um, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's talk. Let's talk Dobesh. How did you feel overall about his performance? I'll tell you kind of how I feel, but you go ahead first.
Yeah, so slow start, but I think that's kind of coming with the territory, not playing very much, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's very accustomed to doing that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just a slower start. I felt like he was kind of impatient and opening up, and they kind of just went back and went 5 on. I know the first goal, that was exactly what happened. He got outweighted by the forward and just opened up.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the period there too, there's a little flurry, and he did the exact same thing. So it's kind of like getting nervous there, but he definitely patched it up and looked great for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he pretty much won that game for us. Like there wasn't, I think 5 good minutes. Other than that, it was kind of just play good defense and let Dobeš make saves that he can actually make. So yeah, I
Yeah.
felt really good about him, and I think
Yeah.
he gave us a great backup performance like that we needed. So yeah,
Mhm.
definitely feel good about Dobeš in that game.
Yeah, I would say that, like, to start, it was a little touch and go because I especially felt like in the first period, his rebounds were even just with the goal, I'll talk about that, but just in general, I felt like his rebounds were generous, and then they were a little bit, I don't know, I think it's kinda like you said, like, and I said this, on Twitter, and you said it too, where we it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think, with the backup goalie, where especially a backup goalie who, like, is really not being played, as much, um, and it's that he doesn't play, he's not used to playing, which, like you said, is probably not something he's used to on his career level, I'm sure that he was this isn't a regular thing for him to deal with. So for him to come in rather cold almost, and then be asked, the Habs don't like ease their goalies in. You know what I mean? Especially with the way they've been playing in the first periods recently. So it was like, hi, here's your first start in um, X number of days. Um, and there you go. You're like, make 15,000 saves. With despite the, the issues on the Preds, they do have some individual very talented players. So although the results aren't great, and ultimately I think this team as a whole isn't good, as their results say, as their elimination from playoff contention already has said. Um, but they have Stamkos, they have even O'Reilly, they have these guys that can do damage, and as we saw, the Habs kind of didn't help Dobeš at all. So what happens? He comes in cold, maybe he performs badly. That's reinforcing in Marty's mind that he shouldn't play, so then he doesn't play, then he comes in. It's just a cycle of a backup, I think, like you said. But I think he really settled in. You know what? Why don't I actually go over this game just really quickly in terms of how it went down? So the first went as most Habs firsts have been going recently, unfortunately. And it started off with the goal from, who was it? Stamkos, I think. Um, yeah, it was Stamkos, assisted by Forsberg. Um, that was a that was one of those moments where I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a Mike Matheson game." In like Mike Matheson game, negative versus Mike Matheson game positive.
Yeah.
Although I do think he cleaned it up at the end, but the first period was a disaster class, because not only did they have that one goal, there was also a second goal that was then disallowed because it was goalie interference. It was one of the times that I actually thought the NHL got it right. And it's not just because it was for my team, guys, I promise. I actually do think they got it right. Um, and that was also on a questionable move by Mike Matheson. Um, again, we'll come back to that disallowed goal because I want your thoughts on it. But the second period was pretty quickly, it was Cole Caufield who scored, who's slowly heating back up, which is really important for this team because I feel like he's going a little cold for a little while. Um, and then pretty much right away, Patty Laine scores rare 5 versus 5 Patty Laine goal. And I think he earned it. I honestly think he's been he's been working 5-on-5. And so I think he deserved that. And that came along with a Lane Hutson assist. Alex Newhook also assist, and Nick Suzuki also had the assist on the Cole Caufield goal, just so we know. But the important one there is the Lane Hutson assist, which, gives him a nice good record. And then it was just a whole lot of muck up, I think, after that. I think the rest of the second, the Habs were still sticking to it a little bit, although they were like, although they were, their play was not, was slowly but surely going to like a really a level that like matched the shots that were on the board. But ultimately I think they held on. I ultimately think they were like in the same vicinity of playing the same sport that the Preds were. And then the third happened, and the third was just them praying and holding on. And I think that this third, in a game that was on a back-to-back with travel, looked very much like a third in a game that's on a back-to-back with travel, right? Like, it wasn't unexpected. I'm not annoyed about it. Like, I was expecting this. So all of that to say, let's go back to the first period because I want your thoughts on that goalie interference call. Thoughts?
Oh, I think it was goalie interference. Like, he was in the
Yeah.
crease and kind of moved Dobeš in a different direction than he was probably going to go. So obviously that's kind of textbook what they should call there. But you never know with these calls. Sometimes it can go anyway. If that's, I guess if a guy's all involved in that, it's going to be going the other way. So they don't like Brendan Gallagher on any goalie interference call. But
I was gonna
I
say.
don't know. I think that was a good call and it was the right one. And yeah, you can't do that, but they did it a lot. So,
I agree.
yeah.
And I think it was like, at first it seemed like they weren't going to be able to it didn't look like they were about to challenge it. I'm not sure if that's what you saw too, but it looked like they were very unsure about it. But ultimately, I think they made that call, and I'm glad they did. I'm okay with them taking that gamble, even if it wasn't ruled goalie interference. I'm fine with letting our penalty kill do its thing. Which, by the way, there was like UL Armia, bless his heart, with like one hand, is still trying to be as much of a monster as he can. And on the penalty kill, that is paying off. Today, he had this insane shift where he and Jake Evans just decided to do their thing, which is really funny because I used to say that was the McKinnon and Rantanen duo, like classic, but we all know
Yeah.
how that went. So scratch that.
Yeah, I also just want to mention Jake Evans. That was a really good game. I thought defensively, especially in the third period, like he really clamped down. Like he was massive in the last 2 minutes of the game too, and I just really, really appreciate everything he does because that's so massive for the team. Like what he does, penalty kill, and in the final 2 minutes, which you always need because we're always in close games. So, yeah, Jake Evans is massive for this team, and I'm so glad he's still here because that would have been bad if we traded him. Looking back on it, like where we are
Yeah.
now.
I think
Yeah.
people he's been the target of some criticism because you know how it always goes down if a player's play tends to like suddenly not be it like people tend to get very not generous in moments like this where guys signed a new contract and suddenly it's oh he got paid, he doesn't care. Whereas like first of all, things are really heating up for the Habs, so that adds a level of competitiveness and like pressure. Then you have like the fact that like his shooting percent wasn't going to be like 110% the entire season. And third of all, I'm sure he felt some pressure. Like I'm sure that along with this kind of um show of faith, uh came along some like, oh, they've showed faith in me now. But ultimately I think even if the offense hasn't come back, the thing that we are counting on Jake Evans for is not his offense. We're counting on him for great penalty killing, good defensive play, face-off wins in the penalty kill, and he's doing all of those things. And now he's starting to get some points, and good penalty killing is penalty killing that you're spending in the other team's zone. So, that'll lead to offense, which the first thing comes first. To me, that's the priority from Jake Evans. Like, I'm not expecting I'm not expecting goals like even every week from him, frankly. I'd like some, like, of course, but ultimately, I don't think that's what I'm looking for. So yeah, great shout out. I'll check the numbers in a bit just to see what they look like because they don't very often match what I'm seeing, except when it comes to
Yeah.
Lane Hutson, who put on another masterclass, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the record that he tied. He didn't break it yet. He tied it, right?
Yeah, I tied it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But first, I am going to send you guys over to Andrew, who will tell you a little bit about one of our lovely sponsors, Inchoo Bijoux. So I'll see you guys in a bit.
We are so excited to tell you about our new partner here at Game Over Montreal, a delightfully witchy goth and glam jewelry store making handcrafted art that varies from subtle silver to gold pieces to glamorous bespoke. Inchoo Bijoux is more than just a company. They've built a community through advocacy and a welcoming attitude that has made them an institution here in Montreal. Located in the historic Chateau Saint Ambroise, Inchoo Bijoux also runs seasonal themed markets called Maleficarum Market or Marché Maleficarum en français, where artisans from all over get together and showcase and sell their wares. Drop by 4000 Rue Saint Ambroise, Suite 278, and say hi to Astrid and the Wicked team, or head to inchoobijou.com and enhance your style. The next Maleficarum Market will be on the weekend of February 8th and 9th. We'll see you there. Now, let's get back to the show, but before you do, make sure you subscribe to Game Over Montreal, Game Over Network, and smash like on this video because it really helps us out.
We are back. Oof, not a great thing I just did. Right, we are back. We're so back. It's so over. Um, uh, so Lane Hutson, eh? it's gotten to the point where almost, well, first of all, this has something to do with the fact that I do have a massive headache, but um I think it's gotten to the point where like Lane Hutson's so dope and he does so many good things that like when we first got on our call and we were going over what we want to talk about, I almost forgot about the record. Um and he broke a pretty pretty long-standing one. He tied rookie defenseman in franchise history, I think. Um
Yeah,
French
Montreal Canadiens
yeah,
history.
franchise history. Um what a guy. And all while being approximately 10 years old. So that's great. Like here's a preteen breaking some records, right?
Yeah, those bones are growing for sure. Just
The
like his
bone
doctor said.
zone. The bone zone, baby.
Yeah, no, he had like such a good pass tonight too at one point where he just sauced it like all the way across the ice, and it was like the nicest thing. Like watching him pass the puck is just unreal. Like I don't know, he's insane, and how smart he is too that he can just locate guys like that. I don't know, he's so special, and like I think he's just surpassed like everything we thought he was gonna be.
And we had
So
big
at this point,
expectations.
he's already one of the best defensemen in the league. Like if you look at pretty much everything right now, he's up there already. So it's incredible what he's doing right now. And it's just the names he's up there with. Like we're talking about Chris Chelios. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just all like he's up there with like Lindstrom, whatever assists. Like it's nutty. I don't know. Every record I see is so stupid. Like it's
It's so
insane.
insane. And it's I honestly don't, and I know people are going to be so annoyed about this, but I don't think it's a conversation anymore about the Calder. I think he's won it.
No, it's not.
And if somebody doesn't, whatever the voting turns out to be, um, I can't wait to cyberbully whatever journalist doesn't vote properly in the
Yeah,
Calder.
I think after like the Sens game where I was actually on with you there, I think that was kind of the game that it first like got real that he was in the call because of that goal he scored, and then like you look at the one he scored last night too.
Sick.
It's starting to happen now too. He's scoring goals and tonight it's like it's undeniable. And those are big goals too. Like
Mhm.
both of them were to go ahead in those games. So yeah, he's so clutch too. It's so fun.
And it's great to see because that's like it feels like we have a team full of guys who are like down for that, and we love that,
Yeah.
guys under pressure who can perform under pressure is great. Um, I thought that like sorry, just brain freeze for a second. But I thought that like even today it was like a mid Lane Hutson game, I want to say. And even then I thought he was trying to create stuff in the start of the game, and um he's got so much energy, man. Like it really seems like he's not getting like he's not tired. And we saw a little bit of the fatigue before the Four Nations break, but even then I think it was like mental more than physical. Brendan, like what's your thought on the fact that like this is the first time he's playing so much in his career on like in a year?
Yeah, it's kind of insane that he does this all while practicing to like he does every optional skate. But yeah, I feel like he just needed that break, like that, because like everyone said coming into the season, like college players only play a certain amount of games, right? So it's they only on the weekends too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's everyone thought he was gonna hit a wall, and he kind of did. And then he just took that break and I guess mentally reset a little bit, and obviously reset his body. And he's just looked different since then. Like, just been so much better and at a different level. So yeah, he just kind of needed that break, I think. But I don't think there's any question that his conditioning is so up to the NHL level at this point that I'm not worried about any steps back. Like that guy is a freak. So and the only place he's ever like been is the rink. Like he just lives there. So
It's very funny. It's so funny because every time it's like, where's Lane Hutson on the ice? Likely place for him to be, like it's just that
yeah.
just it's I feel like I know at any point where Lane Hutson is, which is sounds really creepy, but that's not what I mean. That's not how I meant it. I meant it like
Yeah,
he's constantly working. He loves hockey. And I feel like
yeah,
that's just so common, or like that's a factor. I mean, every elite player, or every player with good hockey IQ that I know of loves the game, thinks about the game all the time. Um, I do hope at some point Lane decides to find a hobby. That would be great for him. Um, but for now, it's working, and I'm so glad that he's having fun. The post game at the Bell Center that the Habs posted last night. That was so sick because he's like the Center's chanting and like they're so loud and they're cheering, and you could like see it on his face that he was like so like he didn't know what to do, right? And like
yeah. He's overwhelmed by it.
and that was one of
He's
those
just a
moments
little
where it's like
guy. Like he
he's
doesn't
just a
know.
little guy. He's just a little guy. And that was one of those moments that like not to like not talk about Lane Hutson in this moment, but like that's one of those things that I look at and I go, man, don't you want to play in that city? Like, that's one of those moments where I go, I think that, I think some people could, I know a lot of hockey players are very like attention averse in a weird way. Um, but come to Montreal, man, come to Montreal. This crowd will, yeah, you better win. Like, you're not gonna, they're in a great mood this year because we weren't expecting it. But still, like, how can you not want that crowd to cheer for you, and not the only time they call your name is when they're mocking you, right? Like that's not how you, I don't know, I just think it's a really cool atmosphere and a really cool building. And um I've just been in my feelings recently about so many different things, but one of the things I've been really thinking a lot about is the Montreal Canadiens as a um institution, and as a the mythology of the Montreal Canadiens. So this is a complete, like, I did not mean to go here, but like
Oh, it's all
I
good.
yeah, it's just it's one of the reasons I fell in love with the Habs actually. I didn't grow up in a family that follows hockey, first generation immigrant. It's none of that. I got into the Habs because I liked Carey Price, first of all, and then I got really into them. Well, second of all, then some boys at high school were a little weird about that, and I doubled down on it. I was petty about it. They were like, "Oh, you must only like
Good for
him."
you.
Yeah, so I doubled down on it. But like the reason why the love stayed, it's because I'm like an I'm an artsy girly at heart. Like I really just am. Like that's way closer to the person I am. Um, and I just like a good narrative. I like a good mythology. I like a good like the legends, the torch, the ghost of the forums. It's all so rich. And I think it's part of the reason why I fell in love with the Habs. Um, this is a complete side note, but like what's your story with the Habs? How did you get to be a Habs fan? We're both in Ontario, so
Yeah, my dad was a Habs fan, so that was
Mhm.
kind of my
You
simple. I
inherited
didn't have
it.
a romantic. Yeah, I inherited it. But yeah, he was a Habs fan because his dad was a Bruins fan, so he's kind of the opposite of me, where he's petty towards his dad. So that's kind of funny. But no, it's the same thing though. Like even though I inherited it, like you said, but even despite that, like everything you said about the Habs is so true, and like it's why I love this team so much. Even like there's other sports teams that I love that I don't love in the way that I love the Habs because of this. Like I
Mhm,
don't feel this about the Toronto Blue Jays because they don't have this. Like the
mhm,
culture and the history and the legacy and everything that goes with it. And I was actually thinking about this day too while I was thinking about the Habs, and like this is like the first time in my life where just the way it looks, we might start to have some of that like greatness back in
yeah,
Montreal where
yeah,
like that's been missing. Like even though we had the greatness of Price and we had some moments that were really really good, really fun, like it's never been like the dominant like high flying Habs that were just brilliant to watch, right? Like
mhm,
there was dynasties and there was so much success in our history, and like I just want like I don't want all of like it's obviously way harder in
yeah,
modern NHL to have like 3 or 4 Stanley Cups in a decade, but like we can we could just settle for one and like
I'll
some
take
really good
one.
years or something. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just take
Yeah.
one, please. But no, but I just think it's be like I think the floor is that we're going to be, leading, like winning some divisions, and we're going to be in the playoffs kind of every year for a while now. Like I think this when you have like this amount we're getting like Suzuki and Demidov and Hutson, and like when you have those superstars, it just puts a floor on your team that no matter how the guys around them are playing, you have those guys. Like that's secure, right? Like
Yeah.
and I think we've just never had that. We've had a Price and we've had a Weber, and it's like those are like really fucking good, but you need a little bit more. Like, and I just think that we're past that level of Habs now. We're at a different tier, I think, and we're
Mhm.
just coming into it now, and it's so exciting.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, earlier on Twitter, I was in my feelings about the Habs and like what kind of gone down in the last like little while. And we've been getting some bounces and there's felt like this magic in the building in the Bell Center. Um, and a friend, a mutual of both of ours actually on Twitter, brought up the ghosts of the forum and the mythology behind that. And I like to do this thing where I say things that I know, like say things that will make people like feel like really emotional and yell at me, but then I forget that I'm also gonna get emotional at that. And something that like I said was as like, do you think the ghosts of the forum have decided to come to the Bell Center because the the sacrifice and the you know have we satisfied by giving enough by letting a
Did we
superstar's
pay the
career,
debt?
yeah, like have we paid our debt? Like it was just so like I got so I don't know. I'm gonna move on because I do like genuinely I am in the kind of mood where I could make myself cry about like the romance of sports. Like I'm big on this. Oh, Adam says, oh, and this actually might make me cry, where he said, I went and
I just
left
read
a
it.
puck on Rocket Richard's grave before. Not many franchises have that mojo. Hashtag ghost of the forum. Yeah, yeah. And I'm always saying this, by the way, guys. If I'm a big history gal, I like to learn about stuff like that. And if you guys have any recommendations, so I know of a lot of them, but like, if you know what? Next time I'm on, I'll tell you guys what I know about and like what resources I have, and then if anybody else has any more ideas, drop them. Or you can even tell me right now I'd love to know more. And I'd love, if you guys if there's one that everybody keeps telling me, then that just goes up my priority list. Anyways, I'm gonna move on. So I'm gonna stop so I don't cry. But uh, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about what happened with the lineup today with the last minute loss of Heinemann and Savard, which Romelli brings up. Um, but first, I am going to send you guys over to, um, you know what? I'll do a Patreon ad read for us instead. Um, so are you looking for ways to help an upstart media company employing over 30 young journalists and analysts across Canada? If you have a few spare bucks kicking around, you can head over to our Patreon page at the patreon.com/the Game Over Network. There you'll find multiple tiers featuring different rewards and goodies for helping us grow. There's extra access, exclusive looks behind the scenes, Discord benefits, merch discounts, opportunities to give us feedback, and you can even join us for special live shows where you can interact with the hosts and launch and help us launch more ways to improve your experience. Of course, we love listening to our chat anyways. It's not even just you don't have to join our Patreon for you to be a part of this show. Our community is what helps the show run, but if you'd like to, that'd be great. But also, if you're not able to spare a few dollars, we do also have a free tier available so you don't miss out. Other than that, if you really want to help us out in other ways, please make sure to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Rate us 5 stars on whatever audio podcast platform you like, because we do also have an audio only version. And share our work on social media. We really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I love doing this. I love everything about doing this. I mean, even the technical difficulties and all. And any support you guys show just helps us and encourages us and gives us more opportunities. So that's the Patreon. That's not the Patreon. That's patreon.com/the Game Over Network for more tantalizing goodies. Our more information on our website. We do have merch on our website as well. So all of that and more. Okay. Let's talk lineup. Can we keep cars away from Emil Heineman?
Same. I was just for the record of how I found out. I was literally like recording my pod. I was recording the Habscast. You guys can follow it on Spotify. But me and Liz were just wrapping up. It was like I think 10 minutes or so left and around there. Well, we were just gonna wrap up, but like there ended up being 10 minutes. I have to react to this, but
Yeah.
immediately I was like, "Did he get hit by a car? What happened?"
Yeah.
We just have to keep away from those things. But yeah, she screamed. It was awful, but yeah.
Yeah, for
That
those who
sucks. I
don't
don't know.
kind of really know, sorry, just to for
Go
those
ahead,
who
no, go
don't know, what happened is right before the game, we got update that Emil Heineman and David Savard are out on day-to-day injuries, I believe was the exact thing they said. With David Savard, I can really believe it because he's blocking a lot of shots and he's old. So those two things put together does make it believable for me. Emil Heineman, I'm a little bit concerned about because I thought so I have a conspiracy theory here. I think that especially the David Savard one. So this is where my conspiracy theory breaks up because I don't know if it applies to Emil Heineman. With David Savard, um, it's not that I think he's not hurt. I do think he's hurt, but he's hurt, in my opinion, in the way hockey players are hurt. You know what I mean? I think he's hurt in the way that, like,
hurt, not injured.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I wonder if this is like a good way for Marty to maybe let Savard sit and give Jack Guy some time, which by the way, I thought he had a great game. And give him some time to come into the lineup so he's not completely cold, I guess is the word I'm looking for, without actually scratching Savard, because that feels like a line. You know what I mean? Like a weird, like locker room line more than anything.
The dignified match.
Yeah, this dignified scratch.
I don't know.
Essentially.
I don't know if I agree. I don't know the way Marty is with lineups, like, and the way he's been, like, especially right now with trying to get in. Like, Savard's his dude. Like, I don't think you take him out for any reason other than he's really hurt.
Yeah.
And Heineman, I think I might be wrong about this, but I swear to God, I saw him go down and like down for a second, and like I was kind of concerned, and then he just kept playing. But there was a moment, and I have to
I
go
do
back
recall.
and try to find it. But
Yeah, I do
yeah, I
recall
think
there was a
something where I was like,
moment.
what the? Ooh, I, like, yeah.
Yeah, or it was
And
one of
then
those moments I was
I
like,
forget
oh, I must be
exactly what happened.
overreacting. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was some sort of hit or something because he doesn't shy away from contact at all.
No.
But I think you're right about the what do you call it? Like Marty having his lineup. He's very superstitious, I think. And it's like a mix of like he's a hockey guy, so he's superstitious, but he also played, so he's superstitious, and then like something about him just tells me he's superstitious. The tie, the chewing gum, everything like that. So Tringa says Hyman got hit pretty hard last game, and Adam replies, hopefully not as hard as the car. I would also hope so.
I do remember there being a really big hit though on Heino now. Like after reading that comment, I'm like, oh yeah, that might have been it. But like I think it might have been like a reverse hit in the corner or something like that. But I just remember him getting popped. Like
yeah.
And now it's kind of like coming back. But yeah.
Yeah, but I thought in general, and like Ryan kind of says that. Ryan says a lot about the resolve of the team that with the backup goalie and a couple regulars out of the lineup, they claw a win after traveling from Montreal to Nashville. I think that's kind of it. we can worry, and I will worry. Don't get me wrong. I will worry because I'm a worrier about, what's happening with Heinemann and Savard. But, we can only play the game that's in front of us. And I think the Habs did a great job playing the game that's in front of them. Um, you know, it was very much a moment where, and I've said this before, I've said that, like, I know people have been upset with them when they won when they didn't deserve it before. In this season. Last season, the tanking seasons, I understand being upset about that. Totally. I've been there. But seasons like this where they're trying to win, good teams find ways to win even when they're not good. And I say this because I've seen some undeserving games because they've just managed to turn it on for a little bit and then cruise control. And I don't agree with I think it's a skill learning to learning to win a game where you're not very good. Do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Like, am I making sense?
Yeah, no, it's definitely is, and it's like kind of a lot of people say like winning a B game, like it's not your A game, it's your B game, right? And like learning how to win when you're not on your A game and just grind games out. And we've kind of been doing that, even though they're bad teams. Like Boston, we didn't start out very well, but we stuck with it and ended up absolutely kicking their ass. But
Yeah. The first 5 minutes were
It
rough.
hasn't
Yeah.
always been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't always been there, but this team has learned to be resilient and not get down on themselves, I think, and that's one of their biggest assets and biggest skills is like if you take them lightly and if you go away even for a little bit in the game, they're so opportunistic now, and they're not gonna like get down on themselves if they go down early in a game or if they're trailing. Like obviously we've seen the crazy comebacks now for a while, so it's definitely like one of the most encouraging things about them is that even when they're not like this juggernaut team that's like gonna be world beaters and win 6-1 or whatever, it's like we're sticking around games even when we shouldn't now.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's what great teams do. And even though we're not a great team yet, we have players that are going to be part of that are doing it right now. So it's the most encouraging of that.
Um, I'm going to introduce a section, and it's called the bitching section, which we get to bitch. Because I'm in that kind of mood. But before I do that, I would also like to hand us over once again to Andrew, who's going to tell you about our second sponsor, which is the Saint Motel, who we love. And I can't wait to be in Montreal next time. So again, I can visit all these places. Can't wait to visit both of our sponsors. So we'll be right back.
Looking to make awesome memories with your friends? Take some promotional pictures or videos for your business? Check out Le Saint Motel in Montreal's Sud-Ouest borough. It's an amazing selfie studio located in Montreal's historic Chateau Saint-Ambroise, right next to Inchoo Bijoux. It boasts 12 plus unique decors for you to enjoy and make memories with. Hop into their iconic heart-shaped ball pit or transport yourself back in time to Expo 67. Le Saint Motel can also come to you with mobile decor setups available to rent for events, including setup and takedown, or you can head to lesaintmotel.com right now for more details, or to check out their amazing decors that are always being updated. Now, let's get back to the show, but before you do, make sure you subscribe to Game Over Montreal, Game Over Network, and smash like on this video because it really helps us out.
Hello, Andrew, from a few weeks ago. Goodbye, Andrew, from a few weeks ago. So we are back. And as I said, I've decided that we are going to do a segment that is bitching. And what I'm going to bitch about right now is the fact that why do the refs suck so much? And why was it that Dobeš was allowed to be run so many times? It sucked to see. Like, I just don't. What? How are we? I know how you feel, so I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Well, just first, I was gonna ask, do you feel like the team should have done any more to protect Dobeš, or were you fine with keeping like contained and just not retaliating too much? Like, what's your thought on that?
I think that it was. I thought that the Caden Gooley getting that unsportsmanlike penalty was hilarious. And it was just hilarious to me that that was the penalty they decided to give. Like, you could have called it a few different things, I think. Um, Even though none of them would have actually fit the definition, but refs have done that before. But for some reason, unsportsmanlike is really funny to me. And what happened for those who didn't notice, which I'm sure you did because laughed at something really funny after. But what happened essentially is that the Nashville player, I don't know who it is, was a high stick was called, and play was, I believe, either already blown dead or it was about to be blown dead, and he took a shot, like didn't take a shot at Dobeš, but like shot the puck at Dobeš, and Dobeš had to save it. He wasn't expecting it because nobody does in that moment. And Caden Gooley's like right behind the player, and I think like it's one of those moments where he would have eased up on that check, because play's done. So why would he waste that moment? And instead he just went full steam ahead. The guy wasn't expecting it, so he wasn't braced. So he went down. Next thing you know, there's a scrum. The Habs somehow come out of it being one man down. And I think that once they're I think the reffing was so one-sided that with a one-goal game, I just don't know how much more the Habs could have done. Because they were like, especially Jack, I think, was like really keeping the net as clean as he, or the area in front of the net as clean as he could. The guys were pushing back as much as they could, but I think they were being very careful not to get a penalty because A, their penalty kill had already been working so hard, and second, that's just a lot of minutes for like a few different guys, especially with David Savard out. So now you have this like, I just think it was a strategic decision. And I think it was really funny to watch like Dobeš just like yap. But I think he wasn't upset about it, if that makes sense. I don't think he seemed like he was mad about it. So that's a very long-winded way of me saying that although I understand the want for wanting to see more happen, I also don't like I think it was the smarter decision not to, because 2 points are more important um, than whatever they could have done there. What are your thoughts?
No, as a goalie, definitely it's harder for me to like, I don't know, think of not protecting the goalie, but it's definitely like you said, the 2 points are just more important than anything in this game. And like after that call, like it's just so hard to risk getting another penalty and being down a man again. And like that was really the only way that the Preds were going to win that game was like if they got power and started. I think at 5-on-5, at least defensively, we had them to the point where they weren't getting great chances. So it just kind of crashed the net and were trying to piss us off a lot.
Yeah.
And credit to them, it kind of worked. Like they didn't get that many, didn't draw many penalties out of it, but they still I think piss off the team quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't rattle Dobeš though. He stood in
And that was
for it,
really
like you
good.
said.
Yeah, that was really good to see it.
Like you said, he yapped a little bit, but he likes doing that. He's a very yappy guy.
I love that in a
he didn't
goalie.
retaliate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of a punchy guy than a yappy guy. But
Okay, so Fowler. Okay, Jacob Fowler.
yeah, I probably would have hit someone. Yeah, I probably would have hit someone if they did that to me. Like that, just the way they were crashing the net is just like ridiculous. Like I definitely would have gotten the blocker out on them at least twice. But
Yeah.
they're. I don't know. I think just the refs have to call that. They lost control of that game, and it was more than just the weird goaltending stuff. It was like Laine took an elbow to the head that was like after the play, he didn't have the puck, and I forget who it was now, but he just did a flyby, elbow out. Like I don't
Why
think
not?
he actually got him in the head, but he got him up high. Yeah, just for no reason.
Yeah.
And then there was Newhook in front of the net, had a scoring opportunity. His stick got shattered right in half. He had right in front of
Man,
his face.
that was
His skate off.
insane. I was like,
I'm
if anything,
come
that's just a
on.
microcosm, like a little representation of what Newhook's season has been like, where like he does all the right things, gets in the right areas, and then for some reason beyond his control, it just doesn't go in. And in this case, it was something that could have been called. I'm actually seeing a great question from Trinka, which by the way, you guys can drop some questions in the chat. We're not going to be on like too long, but we do want to, if you have any questions. But I'm seeing some from Trinka, and I assume that they're saying Primo, but I assume that it's about Dobeš. Do you think they were protecting
Yeah.
Dobeš a bit too much? That last play there was like a sea of white in front of him, and by they, of course, the players. Are they really trying? Are they just trying really hard for the playoff push, or do they not trust him as much? I just think that they were just so tired. They didn't know what to do, and they were like, why don't I get as close to being in the net as possible? And then Kane Gooley was like, I am going to get in the net. I just think it was like one of those
Yeah.
moments where they were so tired they didn't really know how else
No,
to
they
help.
got stuck out there for 2 minutes. They were just exhausted and doing everything to get their body in front of pucks, and it just wasn't. That was a David Savard moment without David Savard on the ice. So he definitely should have been there.
That was a
Should've been
David
there for
Savard
that.
lies down on the ice and refuses to get back up. And it's on
Yeah,
purpose this
David
time.
David Savard's son was taking his spot in Caden Gooley. He was learning from Papa.
It is so funny to see because I bring this up every single time because it is one of my favorite David Savard memories. And out of this season specifically, but like just in general, David Savard memory, is the one where he just like straight up, it was near the end of the game, it was Tampa, and he laid on the puck. He straight up laid on the puck. Kucherov's poking in the puck and he holds Kucherov's stick. And it's like, what, 2 seconds to go in the game? And he's like, what, they're gonna call that? Like, that's such like a guy who's been around for so long knowing what to do. And the second, just like the ballsiness of like lying there and being like, shove at me all you want. I will hold your stick, but I am not getting off this puck. And that was so funny. I think that's a pretty good like microcosm of like David Savard as a player where he was just the good things about David Savard as a player where he's just completely like he's stubborn, he will do what he has to. He'll put his body on the line and he does have those veteran smarts that he's like, again, what are you going to do? Call me?
Yeah. I think a lot of other, like pretty much mostly every other aspect of his game has taken a massive hit this year, but he's going to go out just sacrificing his entire body for it and he doesn't care. He's just insane with the way he's not care about taking any pain. Like it's just winning the game is the only thing that matters to him. So yeah, it's insane.
It's
I'm
why
not
I believe
surprised
that he's
hurt
hurt.
because of
It's why I believe that he's hurt.
exactly. Yeah, it's insane the way he just stands in front of absolutely everything, including dicks and hooks and just everything.
Romali says David Savard is at his best when he doesn't move, which is why he's so good on the penalty kill. I was really happy to see how our penalty kill managed, especially in those moments where where Caden Gooley had taken the penalty. Because I think he's the stand-in there for David Savard most of the time. With good reason, because I think he does a lot of that stuff, the blocking the shots, everything like that, as much as it pains me to see, because I'm like, he's gonna get hurt. And then I'm like, he's a defenseman, he's doing his job. I can't do this. I can't do this every single time he blocks a shot, because I'll be doing it his entire career. So anyways, I was just I was really impressed with them, and I think a lot of it is, and I know people are gonna be like, or they're not gonna be like, I just think people aren't seeing it same way I am, but I genuinely think the duo of Armia and Evans is starting to step up again. There was a little point where they were like not bad, but they weren't good, and I feel like they're starting to get back to that form. I honestly think Michael Pizzetta has been doing an admirable job there. That last penalty he took was bullshit, so I don't even feel like I can put that on him. And that fight was insane because he just ate like 15 punches and he refused to go down.
Oh my god.
He lost that
one.
I
was starting to cringe.
I lost that one, but honestly, Ryan, I was genuinely like low key. I was like, oh, I almost admire that he's just not going down. But I was also like, dude, your head. Come on.
Dude, that's like a boxer who can just take a bunch of punches in the face. Like, you know, they call it your jaw or whatever, where you just don't get knocked out. Like, that's what he was doing, just not getting knocked out. Just taking punches straight to the face.
Yeah, he's holding on. Impressive. He's holding on to consciousness. There was one punch that he took that was directly to his face near the end that I was like, oh.
Yeah.
he's done, and he was not done. So although he very much lost that fight, I almost admire it because he held on, and I do think that
That
it woke. I don't necessarily believe it woke the Habs up, but maybe it did wake the Habs up a little bit. I know that they were better after it, so I don't know if correlation equals causation, but I feel like those followed one another.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they got the power play after that, and the power play stalled out. So I think that's more why the momentum kind of died off again. But it
Mhm.
felt like right after there was a little surge, but then the power play kind of killed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, just that kind of just sums up Michael Pezzetta, to a T. Just the way he's getting beat up and not going down. That's just kind of who he is as a player. Like
Mhm.
as faults as he has, he's gonna just keep fucking trying. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it's like you said, it's very admirable. I think is the way he's playing right now. Like the fact that we're sitting here having a conversation about Pezzetta that's very positive is
Yeah.
it says
And
more than enough. Like he's doing
yeah.
a job, and honestly, like this might be like one of his last chances to prove himself as a player, and he's not getting any minutes to do it. And I
Mhm.
know Arpin Bassey was actually talking about that. Like it's have a player that's buying the team game while he's also still trying to keep his career going is
Yeah.
incredible. Like I
Yeah.
can't imagine my career being on the line and being like, yeah, I'm just gonna help out everyone around me and not worry about myself right now. Like it's
Yeah.
very admirable. Yeah, I commend him
Same.
for
I
it.
I felt so, like, to handle the way that he, like, wasn't played at all and also wasn't sent down because they knew he would get claimed, and he probably would. That's the kinda guy that a team would like to fill their bottom 6, like, the 4th line or their extra forward role with. Um, but, like, I think that's kind of it. It's the buy-in, it's the and we hear about so much, but it's just true. It's this buy-in, it's this team, it's this, you know, playing for each other, not playing necessarily for Marty, which I'm sure they do, honestly. I'm sure they do. Like he's a great coach, but also it seems like that like locker room is just so close, which is so good to see. But like talking about players who are getting another opportunity and are doing the best they can out of that, I feel like Arbor Jacki had a great game. I think he did all of the things he needed to. He kept it very simple. I don't think he was chasing hits. I think he was being physical the way he needed to. And yeah, I just thought I thought it was a good game versus a team that was really trying to just grind them down.
Yeah, and that's like mainly what you want to see from Jack Guy is like not trying to do too much, and especially at this time of year, we're kind of seeing his first reaction to this type of hockey because he hasn't had it before,
Hmm.
where the games are important and maybe he tries like at first was to do too much and embracing his role as a tough guy again and maybe trying to throw a big hit to get the fans going, get the team going. I think that was a big thing. That's what he puts on himself to he knows that's his role. So I think there's like a lot of talk about what playoff Jack guy would be, and we've always said that like this is such a playoff guy.
Hmm.
So like but it's funny that like he needs to feel himself in be that playoff player, like because that's what would hold him back in the playoffs is if he does too much. Like I
Hmm.
think he needs to keep his emotions contained because he's such a fiery person. Like
Hmm.
the playoffs and with the Bell Center going, like he could lose his mind a little bit and do something stupid like we've seen and chase hits, and it's just that's not
Hmm.
him. Like as much as
Hmm.
it is something that he does, it's not him as a player. I don't think. Like I think it's him trying to do too much, and that's not his game.
Hmm.
And he definitely definitely was a lot better today with
I
not doing
agree.
that.
I do think Arbor is one of those players that feels the heat very quickly. Um, and it makes sense. He's very young. I think Struble was feeling it a little while ago too, where he could tell, like he could see Caden Gooley in the mirror, like the side mirror of the car, where he's like coming up, and he knows that like something's about to happen. He knows somebody's gonna sit. And I think he was just that. The last game he played before this, I think everybody remembers that goal where he went for the hit and it just was a goal instead. And I think that's a good like representation of what can happen if Arbor Jacki gets too in his head about it. Um, so you know what? I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. But Oh, here's a few great comments. So I'm going to ask you one question, just something somebody said earlier I want your opinion on it. It's to do with Soros. Um, but first, I'm going to just shift us over to our overtime segment. So now we're shifted. Uh, that was very dramatic for just shifting over to that. We are shifted. For later
Yeah,
me shifted. Um, so,
dramatic transition.
dramatic transition. Speaking with my hands. So something that Chris actually says in the chat is my conspiracy theory is that Pez dropped the gloves so Jack I wouldn't. Ramelli agrees with that, and yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Um, so my question for you actually is I saw some discussion earlier in the chat that said, Bernardo said Sarah's contract is gonna age like milk. Adam says cheese are rancid. Um, I usually Saros, all I know, or every time I see him, all I can think about is him just being a little guy. Because every time you hear anybody talk about him, they're just like, "That's UC Saros. He's so small. I could put him in my pocket." Like it feels like they're so obsessed with that. But, like it's been a rough year for Saros. Like, how do you just feel about him as a goalie in general? Because I've always found him very like I don't know. Maybe I'm just not paying enough attention, but I thought he was. I think he's been good before this year. I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, he was really good before this year, but I think this could be a product of the team more than the goalie, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. And I know he's not helping, but it's kind of what I talked about with the Habs goalies at the beginning of the season, where when things snowball and defensively your team is awful, it's so hard as a goaltender to keep your confidence up and to keep going back in net when defense is blowing their coverage every game, and it wears on you mentally and gets in your head and you lose confidence in yourself. And I think that's probably what's happening here. He's a really talented goaltender. I think there's no denying that.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of have a soft spot for small goalies because I am one. So
Yeah.
like seeing one, like yeah, I love the play style that small goalies have to have because they just need to be more aggressive. I should say we need to be more aggressive, and they're kind of just all over the place. It's so fun to watch these little guys just kind of slide around everywhere. But and I see that I'm like that's must be how I look. Like it's so funny. But
Yeah.
no, I love like just watching goalies, and I love UC Saros, and I think like to he's had a great career so far, and I think he'd be fine in most other situations. This is
Mm-hmm.
like a Montembeau in the first year of the Habs, where it's just like, what are you
Exceptionally
gonna do,
bad.
man?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exceptionally
and
bad.
like even though he looks bad, like it's like this team is making him look quite bad right now. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they did today. Obviously, that was a good game by Nashville, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if that contract will age poorly. I think it depends on how good the team is or if he moves or whatever. I guess he's not going to move because they traded away, their future goalie
Yeah.
to keep
Squirrel.
Saros. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. I actually just remembered as I was talking about it, I was like, their backup, if I recall correctly, is Eustace Onanen, whose nickname is also
juice.
Juice, which is really funny because it's just Big Juice and Small Juice, and it's not Big Juice is not Soros is what I'm gonna say. So it's just
They
really
could be
funny.
juicy and juice.
Ah, ew, hate it, hate it. With that, unfortunately, I think that's the note we're gonna have to end it on. But Brendan, before we go, would you like to remind everybody where they can find you or what you do?
Yeah, you can follow me. Yeah, I'm a co-host of the Habscast with my partner Linz, and yeah, our Twitter is at the Habscast, and on Spotify it's also Habscast. That's all you search. Yeah, we're having a really fun show, and I think we're both really enjoying doing it. And it's just kind of a hangout type of vibe with us. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you enjoy that type of content, then be sure to check us out because yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I will
having
have
fun over there. So
I'll have Brendan's information in the description box as per always. Like I said, elite shit poster. Very good at arguing with people on Twitter, which I don't have the patience for anymore. And great podcast. So I am going to head out with a lot of love I can't remember who is going to be on the next show. I'll just do a quick check. It's probably going to be me. It is going to be, we don't have somebody yet, but I'm sure somebody will show up. It might be me. I love you guys very much, and I will see ya. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night. He's gonna give the Morgan Wallen like, and just walk off.